All right, I think we're live right now. Hello, everyone. This is the YouLi team. I'm Victoria. I'm the marketing person in here. I also have the support team with me. So we are going to be taking your questions as well as covering our YouLi Cafe. For those of you who don't know, we try to run YouLi Cafe a week or two after our webinars to provide some technical tips and support for the questions that came up. We will also address some of the frequently asked questions that we get in support chart. And this is how you can get most out of YouLi, is to actually tune in and get training really quick without studying for too long. So if you're online and watching us right now, hopefully Facebook notified you about it, then you can post your questions in Facebook comments. If you're in our email, you also got the Zoom link to join us. So I'm going to give a couple minutes for everybody to tune in. In the meantime, the questions we got asked last time when we talked about pre-trip customer care, most of the questions were about tasks, of how do you set up tasks in YouLi platform. And one of the my favorite that came from Sam, the founder of Working Without Borders, is what number of tasks is the perfect number of tasks? And that answer we don't know, and that is based on the intuition of the travel planners. Karen clarified for us. So it's kind of a balance of finding how to make sure you're giving your travelers enough support to feel empowered to be prepared for the trip and get excited for this group experience and feel safe coming into this experience, and don't overwhelm them or annoy them with too many nagging. So like, okay, I remember, I need to do this tomorrow. Can I just do this not right now? So what we try to create is the software that helps you find that perfect balance. And a couple useful tips to know is the software is set up to only send one reminder per day. So that's one of the things we're going to talk about, that Trip CRM feature for YouLi software is how to set up automated reminders. The reminders are sent by the system automatically to remind your travelers, right? Say, hey, you need to provide your passport information. Hey, don't forget to take your COVID test. And then when exactly you want to remind client about that, right? So you don't want to send this whole package. It's how it used to be: papers, folders, documents and Excel spreadsheets. If you need to read through these 20 pages, this is the packing list. This is the health information that you need to get. So what we are trying to do is spread that and automate that, so you don't have to think, okay, 30 days prior to the departure, I have to send this 60 emails and I have to send it manually, right? And everybody has to get their specific information, not just travel insurance, but maybe you have clients traveling from Canada and US going to Italy, right? So those are two different insurance options that you have to send. And the system will help you identify which package goes to which person and send specifically that on time, is specifically 30 days, right, prior to departure. So let's dive in. I'm gonna share my screen. Let me introduce my people. Sean is on my side, will be also supporting me, telling us a little bit more about client cases. Hey, Sean.
Yes, hey, how are you? I'm Sean. I'm the product expert here at YouLi. But most of any of our clients would be interacting with me over our tickets. So if anyone's asked any questions, I probably responded to you at some point. Or it could have been Claire as well.
Hey, Claire.
Hi, sorry, I was on mute. Yeah, I'm Claire. I'm the operations manager. I do mostly onboardings and consulting now, but I'm trying to dive back into ticketing. So you may hear from me a little bit more.
Yeah, thanks, Claire. as a reminder, we do consulting. So right now we're talking about generally, right, how that works in the software, how other clients are using it, showing you some examples. If you want to know how this works specifically for your workflow, for your onboarding, for your application process, if you have it, for your payment process, that you can hire us per hour. That feature is only available to YouLi clients. It is paid to cover the cost, but this lovely guys will help you process everything. So just let us know.
Yeah.
All right. We are looking at Working Without Borders website. And what you're looking at is YouLi embeds that could be on your website, right? So right now, this is how I'm, as a client, seeing this adventure. I see there's only a few spots left, so I would dive in and see the trip page with all details about the adventure. And I'm not a registered user. And unfortunately, I'm not going on this beautiful family adventure to Tahiti. But if I was, I would get some tasks from Sam, the owner, founder, and amazing leader of this company, to submit my information. First of all, Sam does have application process. So let me get to the right tab to make sure I'm showing you what it looks like. So Planner dashboard, we are now no longer looking at it as a user, the traveler. We are looking at it as a trip planner. Imagine I'm Sam's assistant and I'm helping him make sure that our people are ready for the adventure, right? So that's my dashboard looks like, and I'm at the traveler tasks, and I'm seeing the progress which my travelers are filling up this. And if you can see, there's a number of tasks assigned to this specific trip, and you can see the type of the task that Sam was using creating this flow. And a very important and lovely feature of YouLi, when that task will be shown to travelers. Right? So that's the whole adventure of when I'm getting that. And you can see that's relevant to booking date. So you no longer have to calculate when exactly I need to do that. I know that 10 days after, I need to get that document. So I have an assistant, I have the labor hours assigned to this project, right? It's much easier way to plan ahead with what people you need, what papers you need, when you possibly need to send this information to get visas, or to send it to your destination manager to make sure you lock in your rooms, right, with those non-refundable deposits. And we talked about the rule that reminders will be sent only one per day. Another important rule is the reminders go out not only for tasks, but also for payments that are scheduled. And the rule is money over task. It's the easy way to remember it. Money over task means if the payment and task is scheduled on the same day, the user, your traveler, will only receive a reminder about a payment. Money priority over tasks. So, okay, let's go back to our application process, right? So one of the custom forms that Sam is using here is to help you apply for the trip. And you can see it's a custom form, and you can see a very useful feature why you want to apply for this trip, right? So it's everything that tells you about this amazing trip and all the questions that you can add here into this custom form. Do you have to have that many? No, you don't. You can do as many as you want. You can make it as long and as short as you want. And this is also the magic of travel experience design, right? The software gives you an opportunity to build the journey for your travelers. What information is essential for you to know? Right, so this is what you can do. This is also important features to know. This will help you a lot. Who will see that task? Is that task for everyone? Is that task only for specific people? only for people who travel from Canada, right? For example, because they need specific insurance. Is it only for this family? Because you can also start typing names. It's not who specific people on that trip that you want that specific document to be signed by. Or another option, you can show to everybody except for those people sometimes, right? So if you have 20 people, 17 out of them are Americans, then you can show it to everybody except for these 3. Now, when the task is due, we'll define when the reminders will come. And here you also have options. You have an option to put an exact date, right? So it will be, let's say, tomorrow, I need you to do this tomorrow. Or I can make it relevant to booking date. I don't need those potential leads information and passport details. I only need passport details for people who paid me, which is how booking defined. They made a payment. And then another important check mark to pay attention to, I want to hide that task from travelers until it's due. And that's up to you to decide. Do you want that task to be visible? Is it generic task? Is it a task that set intention for the trip, and then you want it to be visible from the beginning? Or is it the task that say, send me your card information, and that I only want the task visible to my travelers when it's due? And then here we decide, do we want to remind travelers about it, or do we want it to just be there? So for example, packing list. Do we want to remind travelers about the packing list, or do we just want it to be there and verbally maybe tell them that just in case you need it, it's there? So reminders will be sent 1 day prior. You don't have to memorize that, it's right there. 1 day after booking date, and that's what we're talking about relative to booking date options. 2 days after booking date, 4 days after booking date. If we set the date to specific, as you can see, then it's going to be reminded 1 week prior to due date, on the due date, or 2 days after if the task wasn't completed. If the task was completed before, the user will never get the reminder. And that's one of the things that you no longer have to do, because normally you would go to a spreadsheet, right? Check if it's received, go to email, send an email. Again, go back to the document, check if that person completed that. Do I have the copy? Is the copy in that folder? All my documents are that. If it's there, then not send it. If it's not there, then go ahead and send an email. Now what you get with YouLi is not only that task is completed, the system will remind them only if the task is not completed, and the document associated with that task will be placed in the document folder, or we call it tab, right? Because it's web design, in resources. This is where it's gonna go, right? So every traveler, aka user, will see the documents that they uploaded, and they uploaded only. The planner will see the documents that all travelers uploaded. Right? So it's secure.
And Vika,
Mm-hmm.
just to comment on that too, that's really good for not only the planner perspective, but also for the traveler perspective, because some of these documents that our travelers are uploading are things they're going to need throughout the trip. So they don't have to, when they access their YouLi trip page, whether they do that through downloading the app or going onto the web, they're not going to need to go into their email and search for a keyword to try to find a picture of their passport. They can just go to the YouLi application, view those documents they shared, and then anything they've shared with you is there for them. So you can also have your travelers complete tasks where they just upload documents that they'll need to access. So that way, you know for sure all of your travelers have the documents right there.
Yes, exactly. Perfect. And one note to that, right? So this is a web application. That means you still need to load it. It is and people use it from phones a lot, right? So it is mobile optimized and it will look perfect. But if you know that you're going offline, for example, we are going on a trip and I'm going to another country and my phone, it does not have the international package. Let's say I'm planning to get the SIM card at the destination and I don't have there's going to be time when I won't have internet access. The option to solve that problem with YouLi is to download it into YouLi mobile app. And that way you have offline access to documents, right? So important documents that we found as a travel insurance, because you don't break your leg somewhere in the middle of the city. Normally that may happen somewhere in the middle of nowhere, but you don't have the internet access, like the mountains behind me. And then you need to, find the ranger and get all the travel documents. So that's what mobile app is for. But everything else within this, yes, and it's like you can pick up your kids and wait in the line, right, in the car, and it's like you have access to your documents to see like what's next thing you need to pack, or what's like when's your deposit due, and process the payment for that. But we are tasks. Thank you, Sean.
But yeah, BK,
Claire, do you have any
very good
special
internet access.
Yeah.
I said you have very good internet access out there in the mountains.
I do. I'm very lucky. All right. So another thing I wanted to kind of show is how to create those tasks, right? So in a planner mode, when we have those tabs, and I was playing with it while we were kind of getting ready for this workshop, and I'm in my task tab, and it's a very simple design. First of all, we need to decide what is it we are creating. So let's say we want that application process. We want to say, go ahead and apply to a new adventure. We're ready for you. Instructions, and pretty simple. Fill out the form. Let's do that. When do I want it? I definitely want it before the booking date, but let's say I'm planning a trip in May. Some of the trip planners, right, we had the webinar with last week, was saying March, April, this is the time for me to get ready, figure out tasks, because my retreat is in April. So if I'm going in April, I'm gonna say that probably somewhere February 4 sounds good. I want to make sure my applications are there. I could add a file right here to show off a little bit more. I do want to send reminders to people that application is due. I want to close that circle, get that group ready by February 4th. And let's say, what would I like? I think I would like something like a custom form, right, for this application process. And this is the building process. It's pretty simple. It's kind of do it yourself. We can add to form a heading. Let's start from that. And this is, just so we know, this is our special deal. No, this is our application for the adventure. And Sean, I think you mentioned we got one of the questions from a client on how to set up that yes and no question, right?
Yes, yeah. It seems like sometimes, like, whether you're just trying to collect information for what to expect for your trip or whatever, a lot of planners seem to like to be able to, you want to gather information from your travelers, and that's what these custom forms will allow you to do. Vika is right now creating a yes and no questionnaire. So like Vika has there, it says something like, did you pay the deposit? Or I guess they would, but like anything like that.
Right, because pay the deposit first, then apply. Or we are partnering with this Oracle Transformational Travel Council. And so I'm gonna say something, are you ready to be transformed? Because if you're not, just stop there, just don't.
And also, well, there's what you mentioned before about booking date. Booking, just so people are clear, booking is after you've paid that deposit. That's when you're booked. So you might have a custom form before that booking date. So before they pay the deposit, where it says, remember to pay your deposit, here's a packing list. Like, do you have the ability to get these things, or will you be able to bring these items onto the trip? And then once they check yes, then they'll have that option to, then they'll be able to book, and then all their other tasks will show. So you can choose to only show this one custom form to your travelers, and then once they book, then those other tasks will start to appear for them. So you have a lot of control over what your travelers are seeing and the order at which they're completing them, rather than like, if you were doing this before YouLi, you would send an email with all the stuff you need and then just hope they complete it in the right order. But this way you have control over that order of when you're getting this information.
Awesome. Yes, thank you. Thank you for this reminder, Sean. One more task that just came to mind is we have a partner, business manager in adventure travel, Katie Broadhurst, and she used to run trips like horseback riding, right? And those, as well as extreme adventures, are usually different level. Like those run retreats, you need to know like what's your running level. Can you run for 1 hour, 2 hours, 2 days, right? It's a very different experience. So what is your, and let's say we're doing what kind of swimming level, right? Swimming adventure, swimming level. And you can be as specific as you want, right? So here, instead of doing this yes or no box, of course, that's a more, well, tell me details, as much details as you want, right? In here, because I need to identify if I can put you in a group of beginners, maybe, or if I could, put you more advanced, or if you are the right person for this trip, because I can also, application process, it means 2 ways. It also can say that I may identify that you're not the right person for this trip, and hopefully I have partners to refer you to and get some referral commissions on that note, right, within the affiliate network. All right. So this is about the custom form. I'm hoping that if we're not being stopped by Claire, that there's no clarification questions. Anything we're getting, I'm going to pause it a little bit just to kind of hang out here.
No questions yet, Vika. I shared the help article on custom forms. I think it's really helpful to show like the different use, or explain that you both are describing the different use cases for it, and to see it in action. In fact, maybe we'll have to post this recording in the help article when we're done, but I posted the help article on Facebook in the comments as well.
Thank you very much. I'm going to show one more example of slightly more in progress trip already, right? So you see how the statistics works in here. So it's funny, you have 12 out of 11 people responded to that. That means that some of the people were not originally assigned to this task, but did fill out the form. But how you identify what's the right level for you? Do you want them to be at 100%? Do you allow them to be at 50%? That's back to that intuition for the planner, right? Also, what exactly tasks are created for? So it could be just the requirements, like what is essential? You have to have this information to run the trip, right? It could be the health information, travel insurance, you may require that, flight information, passport information, and there is extras that could be not necessarily essential to run it, but could make a big difference for customer experience. And that already could be, maybe you provide a webinar pre-trip, right? And that's, we're finding more and more that travel planners, especially delivering the experience, and sometimes even travel agents who are setting people up for that experience, are doing more pre-trip customer care to introduce people to each other, to make sure people are comfortable at the moment when they are just starting their trip. So from that moment, everybody's on the same page, the expectations are set correctly, right? And as a planner, you get less cancellations because your people know the status, right? If there are different regulations in place, if all of a sudden they need to get a booster, all right, before the trip, if something changed over time, especially right now when things change very, very frequently, if somebody in a group is no longer coming, for example, right? And you can set it here. So it's up to you to decide how many tasks and what kind of task. But what about something like this? Also, we are talking about pre-trip task. What about after trip? How about using YouLi task to leave a review? That's an amazing advanced technique that our experienced YouLi users already take advantage of. When the date is set for after when the customer turns, and if you deliver the great experience, those first days, maybe week when they come back, they want to talk all about it. So this is your marketing little trick to get a little special of the extra of the software to prolong your the customer experience, to bring extra to your future business.
It could also be good, Vika, to offer a survey of the trip or the trip itself, the company, using a custom form.
I love this one also. Share the adventure photo gallery, right? So it's a place where you let people share the images, especially if it's something like really emotional and experience. All right, we are at about almost 30 minutes, so I wanted to kind of stop here and give that time to process. This will be posted in the registration page for pre-trip. It's also hang out on Facebook for some time. So if you guys have questions, feel free to leave your comments. We do look at the comments from replays, so we'll try to answer those. And don't forget that we do have consulting. We're going to keep talking about that for those of you who want to, see our faces one-on-one, not just on live stream Facebook.
But yeah, on that consulting note, to touch on that really quickly, this was a lot of information to take in, and we don't expect you to take in everything just from that. I think the core points are that YouLi offers you the ability to automate your process, which just creates a more streamlined process for not only you, but also your travelers. And if you are interested in more in-depth and personalized consulting, we offer that consulting where you can, if you see that little help icon in the bottom, if you want to click there, you could just write us a message and we'll set that up for you. But yeah.
Thanks, John. All right, guys. See you next time. Probably in around 2 weeks, you'll see notification. If you have any questions, we're here.
Thank you, Vika. Thanks, Sean. Bye, everyone.
Bye, Vika.
Bye.